Greetings everyone and welcome to Southern New Hampshire University CJ 104, where we're going to talk about the Shapiro Library and how to do scholarly or academic research. This should look familiar. It is the home page for CJ 104 that was offered in term 14 EW 2. So if you come down here to where it says research and writing, and we click on research and writing, it'll take us to a page that has a lot of good help for us. Number one up here is the Shapiro Library, and that's the one we're going to work on today. Whoops. There are also research guides that we'll talk briefly about that have been predetermined for your use. Citation style, an introduction into how and why we use citations. We'll cover those. Citation management, a checklist for writing, and in the next video segment called CJ 104 APA format. So let's go up here to the Shapiro Library and access it. When we click on it, let me see if I can make that a little bit larger for you so it's a little easier to see. This is what the homepage for the library looks like, and I want to call your attention to several things here on this page. We'll kind of work from the middle section here where it says library resources and services, and we'll work our way down. Here are the enter key search words. That's the same as what you're familiar doing with Google. Okay, so instead of typing in there whatever you would have put in Google, you'll put it in here, which we'll do in a moment, and you'll see that it'll find academic sources instead of popular sources. Okay, so if you need search tips, there's some ideas and some suggestions on how to do it. But also ask the librarian, and I'm trying to make my cursor move here. You can also come over here and see where it has a phone number and the library hours are listed because they are your best friends. Librarians are librarians because they love doing research. That's their interest. Police officers want to be police officers, librarians want to be researchers, and so they are your friend and they are there to help you. All right, so let's go up here to search items, and since this is a police ethics class, let's try that first. Police ethics, and we hit search. Now I'm not certain this is going to be exactly where we want to go, so we're going to do two different searches, but let's see what the first one reveals. And again, let me see if I can make this larger so it's easier to read. There we go. As you can see, there are a lot of sources listed here. There are almost 170,000 newspaper articles. I'm over here on the left side. There are 57,000 journal articles, 16,000 books, 12,000 magazine articles, so on and so forth. What we've selected in our search here is for any document to come up. So here's Police Ethics, Crisis in Law Enforcement, and this is written by Thomas Barker, and it is a book in its third edition. So on the right now you can see, since I highlighted this, it tells you about it over here on the right hand side so that you can look at it. I'm guessing that for what we're doing, you probably are not going to want to look for books for resources because you'll have to do too much reading to get to where you want to go. But you can see this is by Charles C. Thomas, a reputable publisher. It's fairly current, 2011, and it talks about police ethics and law enforcement. So that would be a good source for you. Let's go over here and refine our search, and instead of any, let's go to scholarly and peer-reviewed articles. A peer-reviewed article is where Professor Joe Davis did research and published an article about what the heck ever. And I include my research and my statistical methods in there, and a conclusion and a findings, all that stuff, and it's published. Other researchers in my field would also read that and look and see what it says and maybe say, gosh, Joe's full of baloney. His research is flawed, his variables are wrong, whatever it is. So they conduct their own research, but first they're going to write back in another article in a journal and say, gosh, Davis's research wasn't right. Then they're going to conduct their own, publish their article. Or they can read my article and say, my gosh, he's hit it on the head, this is perfect, that sort of thing. So that's where it's peer reviewed, other academics. So let's click on that because we're looking for scholarly and peer reviewed articles. Okay, so up comes challenge of competence-based police ethics education. So now this is about ethics education, what we're doing, not so much what we're looking for. So when you read the very first sentence on the right-hand side, article examines the current situation in ethics education with a focus on its police context. So that isn't exactly what we're interested in doing. Before we go any further, now that's 2012, so that's fairly current. And it looks like it is a journal article. We can go up here, and how are we going to sort these 52,700? I would say we sort by the newest to the oldest, okay? Because I wouldn't use anything more than 5 years old. That's just too old. So if we expanding predictive police enhancing infiltration strategies, the International Journal of Social Sciences, predictive policing seeks to predict about criminal activity using a comprehensive, that's not really what we're looking for, is it? All right, so maybe relevance was a better choice. From legal translation to legal globalization, globalization of laws to counter global crimes, honesty of ratings of police, communication in social media is a reflection of noble values of a nation. That might be interesting, but it doesn't seem like we're getting to police ethics like we want. So maybe we do go back to relevance and see what happens. Of course, we find the same articles. The ethics police, that doesn't sound right. The ethics police, the police ethics organizational implications. Although this article is 10 years old, it's talking about police corruption. So now what I would offer to you is, since we're getting interesting things with police ethics, I think what we really are more interested in probably is police corruption. So we merely change that, and look what pops up. We have police corruption deviance, police corruption and its prevention. So let's just try police corruption and deviance and see what we get. All right, so we have police corruption deviance. It's a 2-year-old article out of the Asian Journal, and so that may not be particularly what we want to know about because it's talking about Asian countries. Protectors or predators, the embedded problem of police corruption in Nigeria, probably really interesting stuff, not for us. Science University Oxford report findings in administrative science, the embedded problem of police corruption and deviance, and this is about in Oxford in the United Kingdom. Here's New Zealand, police corruption and deviance in policing, looking for reform. I'm trying to skim through to see what this is about. It's in the Netherlands. So it gives you an idea, though, of what you can look for and find. And then you can refine that search, as I said up here, where it talks about, well, anyway, I can't find where it goes right now. But the idea of you can narrow the hunt. So we can go to just journal articles. We can look at a particular discipline and refine it, or on the earlier pages there's a help page for adding more phrases and terms, because that's what you're going to do. Maybe we're not going to look for deviance, maybe we'll take that out, and maybe we'll put in police corruption in America and see what we get. So you get the idea. If you're going to play with these, that's why this requires time, energy, and effort and critical thinking skills, okay? So here's Latin America, a study of drug-related police corruption arrests. Gives you the idea what's there. That's why I want you to use the library, is because there's such a wealth of information rather than Googling and finding the second or third most popular article and cutting and pasting it into your paper or using large pieces of it. Okay? I hope this helps. It shows you where the library is, what you can do, and what you can find to help you. Keep the cards and letters coming. Let me know if this helped you. And if you need help, let me know. Get a hold of the librarian.